Treasure is not always gold and diamonds. Sometimes it is real treasure, a piece of broken glass, a piece of faded ivory, or a cracked wooden box. Real treasure is a story that can change our understanding of history forever. In 1937, on a quiet, dusty plain near Bagram, a group of French archaeologists were searching for the remains of a lost empire. Little did they know that beneath their feet lay not a city, but a secret. A secret that had been hidden in two dark chambers for nearly 2,000 years. This is the story of the discovery of that secret. This is the story of the Bagram treasure. A treasure that resurrected forgotten empire and proved that Afghanistan was not a passageway, but the beating heart of the ancient world. This is the story of the moment when history was rewritten forever. In the early 20th century, the Kushan Empire was one of history's greatest mysteries. Historians knew that a great power had ruled a vast region from Central Asia to northern India for about 3 centuries, but the main cities and details of its culture remained shrouded in mystery. The empire wandered like a ghost between the pages of Roman, Chinese, and Indian history. In 1922, the governments of Afghanistan and France signed a historic agreement that gave the French Archaeological Mission in Afghanistan exclusive permission to conduct archaeological excavations in the land. It was a golden opportunity to discover these lost worlds. One of their main goals was to find Kapisa, the legendary summer capital of the Kushan Empire. After years of research and small excavations, French archaeologists, led by a prominent figure named Joseph Haken, followed clues to the vast Bagram Hills north of Kabul. They believed that the ruins of the great city of Kapisa lay buried beneath these hills. The excavation work in the 1930s was a grueling project. Archaeologists and local workers dug away meter by meter of soil under the scorching sun with rudimentary tools to get to the date. They found the remains of massive walls, watchtowers, and a large urban area that indicated that this had once been an important center. But nothing could have prepared them for what awaited them in the summer of 1937. While excavating what appeared to be the remains of a royal palace, the team came across a brick wall with no doors or entrances. The wall had clearly been built later, deliberately blocking off a section of the building. It was an anomaly, a mystery. Joseph Haken and his wife and fellow archaeologist, Ria Haken, ordered the wall to be carefully broken open. Little did they know that with each stroke of the pickaxe, they were getting closer to the moment that would immortalize the name of Bagram and the Kushan Empire in world history. As the last bricks were removed, the hot, dry air outside gave way to the stillness and darkness of 2 millennia. The archaeologists peered inside with their flashlights. They expected anything: a tomb, an empty granary, or perhaps a few scattered coins. But what they saw was beyond imagination. The room they found, later known as Room 10, was filled with piles of various objects, stacked tightly together. At first glance, it looked like a cluttered warehouse, but as the team entered the room and took a closer look, their hearts began to pound with excitement. This was no ordinary warehouse. This was a time capsule. According to the detailed excavation reports written by Ria Haken, the object was so carefully arranged that it was clear that they were prepared for long-term storage. It was as if someone, at some point in history, perhaps during an invasion or crisis, had hastily hidden all their precious treasures in these rooms and blocked the entrance forever, hoping that they would one day return. A hope that never came true. The first things that caught the eye were the glasswares. Dozens of glass goblets and plates made with incredible delicacy. Some were colored, some were decorated with enamel paintings. The style and technique of their construction screamed Rome. These were masterpieces from the glass workshops of Alexandria in Egypt, then part of the Roman Empire.
how these fragile vessels had traveled thousands of kilometers from the shores of the Mediterranean to the hearts of the Hindu Kush. Then came the ivory fragments, hundreds of small and large pieces of Indian ivory carved in astonishing detail. These pieces, which were probably decorations for chests, beds, and aristocratic furniture, depicted women in Indian dress and jewelry, mythical animals, and scenes from everyday life. Their artistic style clearly belonged to the art workshops of Mathura in India. This was just the beginning. In 1939, a second room, Room 13, was discovered with a similar treasure, this time alongside Roman glass and Indian ivories. Delicate lacquered boxes were found that clearly came from China, from the Han Dynasty. Moment by moment, an astonishing truth was forming before the archaeologists' eyes. The discovery of the Bagram treasure was a bombshell in the world of history and archaeology. Until then, the general perception of the Silk Road was that it was a purely commercial route for transporting goods. But this treasure showed how superficial and incomplete this perception was. First, this treasure proved that the Kushan Empire was not just a trading intermediary or a regional power. The variety and quality of the objects showed that the Kushan rulers were wealthy collectors with a global taste. They imported and enjoyed the finest and luxurious works of art from the three great civilizations of the time: Rome in the west, India in the south, and China in the east. The Bagram Palace was the meeting place of the entire ancient world. Second, this discovery changed our understanding of trade itself. The discovery of Roman glass alongside Indian ivories and Chinese lacquer in a single collection physically demonstrated how integrated and extensive the ancient world's trade network was. These objects proved that Afghanistan in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD was not a remote land, but a literal crossroads of the world and a major center of international trade. Each piece of the treasure told a story. Small Buddhist statues showed the growing power of the religion along the Silk Road. The collection was a global puzzle. All of its pieces were found in 2 rooms at Bagram. The discovery transformed the Kushan Empire from a name lost in history to a civilized, wealthy, and multicultural superpower that had direct and close ties with its great rivals, Rome and China. The history of the Silk Road was never told the same way after the discovery of Bagram. This was no longer the story of a route, but the story of a globalized ancient world with its capital in the heart of Afghanistan. Just as the French archaeological team was in the midst of the excitement of their discoveries, the flames of World War II flared in Europe. After the end of the excavation season in 1939, they returned to France under the rule of Joseph Beria to join the resistance movement against the Nazi occupation. But fate brought them a tragic end. Both were arrested during the resistance activities and lost their lives in 1941. The great discoverers of the Bagram treasure never had the opportunity to publish the full results of their research and tell the story of this great discovery to the world. But the treasure remained. According to the contract, part of the findings was transferred to France and is today kept in the Paris Museum, but the vault and the main masterpieces remained in the National Museum of Afghanistan in Kabul and became the beating heart of this museum. This treasure also had an adventurous fate in the following decades. During the Civil Wars, the dedicated and brave employees of the National Museum secretly transferred this treasure and other valuable works to safe places, including the Central Bank Treasury under the Presidential Palace, saving it from destruction and looting. This is another epic in the story of this treasure. Today, the Bagram treasure is not just a collection of beautiful objects. It is an identity document, an undeniable testament to a glorious and global past. This treasure reminds us that this land has always been a crossroads of cultures, ideas, and peoples. The story of its discovery was a fateful moment that changed not only the history of an empire, but also our understanding of the entire ancient world, forever proving that the greatest treasures are those that have a story to tell. If you have been with us this far, I would like to thank you for liking the video, and if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, press the subscribe button now. And share your thoughts with us in the comment section.
Thank you.